I like worked up a sweat drilling this drainage hole, and I'm cooled down now and I'm like freezing. I changed my entire outfit. I was wearing a sweater and some like fleece lined joggers, and now I'm really cold, but I'm gonna power through. So hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and today we are doing some repotting. I have gathered up some friends here that needed a little bit of a change of scenery, and I'm excited to do that. And while I repot, we're gonna do a Q&A. I'm a gal who loves to chat, so doing these Q&A style kind of just like gives me themes to go off of, and I talk about things that you guys want to talk about, so it's a win-win scenario. So I don't think I said, but the theme of this Q&A is going to be stress management and like life management and all of those things, because you guys know I'm on a kick to figure out my life and like be a better functioning adult. And I don't know, I've been on a journey and it's been really fun to figure these things out finally. Like it actually feels good to put structure in my life when I haven't for so long. So not that I took my ring off. Yeah, like I'm not theming it as that because I feel like I'm an expert now. It's really not that at all. I just think that it would be helpful for other people if you're in a similar position to me to just know what I'm doing and what's working and what's not. So you kind of, I don't know, maybe have better footing whenever you do get started on that journey, wherever or whatever that journey may look like. So anyway, I think I'm gonna start with this anthurium dorayaki because as I mentioned, drilled this drainage hole, and it is kind of a big drainage hole. I didn't really think, like, I don't know. I was thinking that the smaller bit would be too small, and then this one is kind of too big. So I went with the bigger one just in case. Where's my soil? It's over there. I visited Equigenera last week, a few days ago for me, and I talked with them about soil for anthurium, and pretty much confirmed that tanks is still a good option for my plants, just because it has good moisture retention for my watering style. I tend to be a bit of an underwaterer, and I've always been kind of worried that tanks was too chunky or like too dense for them, because oftentimes when you see anthurium in places where professionals have been working on them, they have like a very chunky cocoa chip heavy mix, and mine has cocoa chips in it. It has pumice and the compost, obviously. See, this pot is even too big, but those roots look really good. So I think that this plant is pretty happy. It had a root growing out the bottom, and that's why I'm doing this. But I just don't have a ceramic pot that is big enough, because I feel like this pot is about the same size as the old one, but this one is ceramic. So one of the things that I am wanting to do is get all of my anthurium out of terracotta, just to get them into something that's gonna hold moisture for a little bit longer, because again, I'm an underwater and anthurium need a little bit more from me than I'm used to with like philodendron and stuff like that. But I really am on a journey this year to do better by my anthurium, because I just want them to be happier. I mean, this plant, whoa. This plant does look pretty good, I'll be honest. It's very beautiful. It's probably my best looking one besides my clarinervium. So I just want to continue that trajectory and like keep getting more and more beautiful leaves. But to be honest, I don't know if I really have a pot that is that much bigger, but I did want to get it into ceramic, so I think this will be fine. When I go shopping for my other anthurium pots, oh, we lost the lighting. Hello, camera. When I do go shopping for pots for my other anthurium, I'm going to get a pot for this one. This is kind of a waste, but I already unpotted it, so I'm like, I'm not gonna put it back in that old pot again. So we're just kind of doing this, and then I'll transfer it to a bigger one. But okay, we gotta get to the questions. The first one is, best way to wind down at the end of the day. I can't seem to shut my mind off. So this is a great question, because I really struggle to shut my mind off too, because it's like always at the end of the day, I remember all of the things that I like didn't do that day and needed to get done, or things that I want to get done the next day. It's like my brain just is incapable of going to sleep at the end of the day. So something that I've been doing is, number one, taking a bath at the end of the day. I know that baths like aren't realistic for everyone based on where you live. Like when I lived in Arizona, I took a bath like extremely rarely because it's a lot of water. So now that I live in Missouri, I feel less bad about taking baths. So I do take a bath, not every day, but a lot of days I do, because it just helps me to wind down. And like I have a practice of, you know, getting out the bath bomb, putting in a little Epsom salt, and it just relaxes me. And you kind of like, I mean, you can be on your phone in a bath, but it's water and your hands are wet. And so it's just, I feel like I can be like more present and like not on my phone when I'm in a bath, because I don't want to ruin my phone. And it can even be hard to read a book in the bath because there's water and there's pages, and I do have a Kindle, but you know what I mean? Like it's just an opportunity for me to kind of not do all of that. So I've been like listening to meditations or my audiobooks or something like that when I'm in the bath, just to have something hands-free so I can just enjoy that moment. So I've like really solidified an evening routine, which is very like influencer speak, and I don't want to come across that way, but honestly, just like having a routine that I go through every single night, like not the same thing every single time, but just like having tasks and things that I do every night has really made the difference for me. So, you know, I take the bath and then I take off, like I wash my face or I take off my makeup if I was wearing makeup that day, put on my pajamas, and then I get into bed and I have like no overhead lighting, and that really helps. Like I know that's like a silly little thing, but having no overhead lighting has really made a big difference for me, because it gets your brain like in the space to be relaxed, because it's obviously darker. I feel like melatonin starts pumping at that point. And I am going to need another bag of soil because we're reaching the end, but I'm repotting this Hoya australis lisa. It has actually recently put out a leaf, and it's putting out another one, which is exciting. That's honestly the most it's done in years. So I'm glad that it's finally doing something. It is getting like significantly more light now that it's under a grow light. But the root system is kind of shrimpy, like it's not that exciting. So I don't know. I'm just putting it in, this pot's gonna be way too big. Even this pot felt like that was probably too big. Maybe I just do a soil refresh on it, but I wanted to do something for it because it is starting to put out new growth. And so yeah, that pot, like this pot right here is probably like the best size for it actually. I feel like it needed a refresh. Don't we all just need a refresh sometimes? But the roots were extremely dry, so she's gonna be getting a water directly after this repot. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Fresh bag of De La Tanks feels so good. It just feels so right. But yes, back to this conversation. So when I've done all of these things, I've shut down the lights, and I still am having trouble sleeping. Like sometimes I'll even read before bed, but nothing is like really working. I will do a sleep meditation, and sleep meditations have honestly changed my life. And I oftentimes don't even hear the end of the meditation. Like I could have had like the most wild brain going on, but when I turn on a sleep meditation, it's like all of a sudden everything is gone. Like I don't even know how to explain it. And I've been using Aura Health for my sleep meditations lately, and it's basically an all-in-one wellness app for like meditations, cognitive behavior therapy, story times. Like the people are telling stories and you can listen to it. Sometimes that's what I do when I go to sleep. There's also like life coaching and breath work. The content on Aura is created by hundreds of different therapists and life coaches from all around the world. And the app is really cool because it's intelligent and it's like learning your habits and just things about you. So it can make recommendations based on some questions that you answer when you sign up. And that just sort of gets everybody in the right mindset to know, like, I don't know, what you're hoping for. Sleep is the #1 thing that is affected when I'm stressed out. Like I have nightmares, I don't sleep, or if I wake up in the middle of the night, I can't fall back asleep because my brain just like instantly starts going. So it's nice to have like something that I can turn to in those moments that will help lull me back to sleep. Or like in the mornings, I do like intention setting meditations so that I have my priorities at the forefront, like thinking, okay, this is how these are the things that I want to do today, and here is me like actively prioritizing those things in my mind. And it's just really helpful to have something like a coach to go over it with you so that you have like, I don't know, prompts to think about. Also like live sessions if you want to go to anything live. So yeah, it's been a really great app for me, and I've quite enjoyed the improvements that I felt in my life, because honestly, being an adult is freaking hard. Like being an adult with responsibilities and like being self-employed, or just like having a mind that doesn't stop, it's hard to like keep everything on track. So I'm really thankful for Aura. And if you guys want to try out Aura, I have a code. It's a special link. I will have it in the description and on the screen right here. So you can try out a free trial on Aura and also a 25% off discount. It would be amazing to see you guys getting into your wellness practices as well. Kind of like a journey that we can take together, because I don't know, I just find that it's easier to make changes and habits, make changes that turn into habits when you have like a group of people to do them with. So I don't know, I'm gonna continue sharing about this journey in my life, like getting my life together, getting good sleep, getting meditations in, and just like being a more centered person, because, you know, again, I've talked about how I'm very scatterbrained, and like that's like really fun and cute when you're young, but I'm not saying I'm not young, but I am an adult. I'm an adult woman, so I really should have my mind, or not should, I don't want to say should, but like I want to have my mind in a better place where I feel genuinely like my life is more put together and just like in a good spot. The next question we have here is things you do to cheer yourself up. Okay, I felt like this was a really good one, just given the fact that it is winter time and seasonal depression. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Like, it's dark outside. So yeah, what do I do to cheer myself up? On days when it is really cloudy and dark, today the sun, you're probably noticing, is like coming in and out. So today's not one of those days. I feel really positive. As you can probably tell, I'm feeling very bubbly, but there's definitely days when I don't feel that way. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's been an adjustment for me living here and not having the sun all the time, because I'm from Arizona where it is sunny like 360 days out of the year. So yeah, I don't know, it can just be tough. So one thing that I do, well, the first thing I'm gonna say is like I started to lean in to feeling kind of sad on those days when it is really dark, and just giving myself the space to, number one, like kind of relax more on those days and be a little bit more chill, like not have like a huge long to-do list, because I think that on days when it's really dark, I feel less productive, which I think is extremely normal. Like I'm not special in feeling that way, but I do think that it's best to lean into it and not try to push against like the natural rhythms of how my body is responding to nature. So what I do is I just kind of take those days as chill days. I do more computer work. I get little things done around the house. Like I want to be moving, but I'm not going to go out to the greenhouse and like build stuff, because usually it's actually kind of cold on cloudy days. If it's sunny, it's really warm in there. But you know what I mean? Like I just sort of lean into what feels good on like a cozy day. Like I start a fire, I eat like more heavy meals like soup or oatmeal. Like I don't know, I just kind of lean into it. So that's one thing that I do to cheer myself up that really feels like I'm not pushing against what my body is telling me based on what the nature is telling me. But also another thing that I do is I have like comfort movies, like just like on a less like philosophical note, I have comfort movies. I'm sure that everybody has. I seriously love Mamma Mia so much. I could watch it like 1,000 times and never get sick of it. And I'm like looking around right now frantically because I don't know what pot to put this in, because the root system like isn't all that huge. I think I could probably put it in this one maybe, but that would probably be like exactly the right size. And I feel like it could use an up pot, and like I want to use this one, but I'm also hesitant to use these because I like using these on the wall, but I don't really have any plants in mind to put on the wall for this pot. So I feel like I can use it. It's gonna be fine. Like I'm having like scarcity mindset right now over pots, but these pots are like $2. I can go buy more. it's fine. So I'm gonna use it because also this is a plant that I want to put on a plank, and I think that I do have a plank. I see it. Yeah, I have a plank that I'm gonna put it on like right now. I'm gonna go get it real quick before I do all this. This came off of a plant that died, so it still has the stakes on it. Thankfully, I'm very thankful for that because I don't know where I would even find more. I don't really have very many in my stash right now. Also, I used to really enjoy, like when I was in college and I was having a bad day or I just needed a break, I would go get food from a drive-thru and I would sit in the parking lot and watch YouTube on my phone. I don't know why, but that was always like a really big comfort for me. I did have like 5 roommates in college, and like 90% of the time, it was literally the best time of my life. But of course, there's gonna be times where like you just wanna be alone, and having that many roommates can be hard to have alone time because there's always gonna be somebody home and like somebody wanting to talk, which again is not a bad thing. I loved it, but sometimes you just wanna be alone. So that's something that I would do. This is gonna need a little bit of training because this leaf for some reason is facing the back and all the other leaves are facing the front. So probably just gonna like push it against here and hope that it turns eventually. But this is a philodendron squamiferum. I don't think that I said what this is. And it's really cool because it has like a very fuzzy petiole, but it's just such a unique plant and I really want to get it growing big because ever since it's been under the grow lights upstairs, it has put out 2 or 3 leaves. So they're not like the biggest leaves in the world, but it is making some sort of progress. So I want to get it on something to climb and hopefully it will attach or at least use it as like a leaning post, because oftentimes my plants don't actually attach to the wood, but they just lean against it, and even just leaning is enough for it to start growing bigger leaves. I think that if I wet the planks down, they would be more inclined to attach, which is, I guess, like a longer term goal, but I want to wait until I can get a lot of these in the greenhouse and it'll just be a lot easier to wet them down because I'm just gonna have like a hose out there and I don't need to worry about getting water on the floor because it's a greenhouse. So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, a lot of my plants on planks are gonna move out there. Not all of them, because there's some that I just really enjoy having in here, like my elbow and my Thai constellation are probably gonna stay in here. Stuff like this, like random philodendron that I just have in my collection, I definitely want to move out there because I feel like they are not like, I guess I'll just like, yeah, I guess they're less sentimental and it wouldn't hurt as bad if they died, but like I don't think they're gonna die out there, but it just seems like I'm gonna spend less time with them because they're not gonna be like in my house. I mean, I'm gonna spend a lot of time in the greenhouse, but not like as much time as I would spend in my house. I mean, actually, who knows? I could just absolutely fall in love and never want to leave and set up a cot and sleep in there. Who knows? So this is a quick question that I wanted to just mention. Can you do a video about how you set up your Notion? So I did do that. I will link it up in the cards right now because my Notion is like a really big reason why I feel like my life is put together at this point. Like if we're talking about stress and life management in this video, that is an amazing tool that I have used is Notion, and it is just very nice. Like it's been kind of like a brain alteration to remind myself to use it for like all of the things that okay. Just restarted my camera using these tongs because it timed out because I talk too much. But yeah, so like all of my lists and stuff, I have to like remind myself not to use the Notes app in my phone and to instead use Notion. So I'm still kind of working through like the brain switch that is using a new app, but it's been so awesome. And yeah, I will have that video linked for you guys to watch if you want to see it. This is a cute one. Do you bullet journal, and how do your pups help with managing stress? I used to bullet journal and it just, it never stuck. I really like the idea of it, but I get so caught up in making it look as pretty as possible that I just don't end up using it because I don't want to like mess it up, which is a really annoying thing. My Notion kind of replaced any thought that I would ever have to do a bullet journal because you can put so much stuff in there, like finance tracking and all of the lists. So how do your pups help with managing stress? This is a very sweet question because actually my pups help a ton. Leo is actually a like registered emotional support animal, and like I don't take him places like with that or whatever, like, because he's not a service animal, but he does have, like, I have like a letter from a therapist saying that he does help me, whatever. So like, I don't know, if I ever need an apartment and they're like being weird about letting me have a dog, I can use that, I guess. But anyway, Leo is especially helpful in this because you can't see him, but he's sitting right here. He's always like right next to me, and it's not even necessarily like a codependence thing, but he just, I don't know, he can like feel my energy. I don't know what it is, but you know how people talk about like having a soul dog and like a dog that is like, yeah, like your soulmate dog? That is Leo. And I'm like, I try not to think about it too much, but I'm kind of crushed that I met him so early in my life, because I mean, he's gonna be with me like through huge life events. Like we got him right after we got married. We're gonna have him through having kids and the kids growing up. So I feel like that's a good time to have a soul dog, because you always are gonna have like that constant. I mean, of course I have my partner, but I think dogs, it's just different. So anyway, yeah, Leo is very helpful in just like being present, and like he just like listens to me talk. Like I sound kind of weird, but yeah, he just like, when I talk to him, I can tell that he's listening, and maybe he's just listening for words that he likes, like, you know, treat and whatever. But I don't know, I just feel like he understands me in a way that an animal has never in the past, and like he just is very comforting. He smells really good. I don't really know, like just his presence is very comforting. And this isn't to say that like Cooper's the worst or anything like that. He's just a little bit more of a high anxiety dog, so I feel like I'm comforting him more than anything, which is fine, because not all dogs are gonna be like Leo, and dogs have different temperaments. And obviously we love Cooper. He's a beautiful part of our family. He's just a little more anxious like me. So I feel like a lot of the time, again, I'm comforting him, which is fine. If I'm ever having like a stressful day, or oftentimes like in the morning when I'm doing my meditation, it's really tempting to look at my phone. It's just like such a bad habit to break. Like it's a hard habit to break, looking at your phone all the time. So in the mornings, I will flip on a meditation. If I'm doing like a really early morning meditation, or I'll just flip over and like pet my dogs and like look at them, or look at the plants in my room. Just like spend time with the dogs, so I'm not like looking at a screen immediately when I wake up. That's definitely very helpful. And I know that not everybody has their dogs in their room with them. They don't sleep in my bed anymore, unfortunately. We kind of shut that down because they congregate around my husband, because he's very warm, and then his back hurts in the morning, you know, because everybody's like, including me, we're all like huddling around him because he's a little heater. So anyway, they sleep in their beds on the floor, but in the morning, like after he leaves, they jump in bed with me. It's kind of a little cute routine we have. But yeah, they definitely help a ton with like keeping me grounded, and especially in the morning. Keeping a routine, because you know, you have to feed them, you have to take them on walks, you have to like take care of something that isn't yourself, and it's a little bit more obvious when they're hungry. Like the plants, you know, they wilt and stuff, but the dogs won't stop licking you, and they like really need you right away. So I think like being needed is definitely helpful, especially in times of like depression for me, because obviously I've shared I deal with depression and anxiety. So it's like a 2-for-1 deal with that. So it keeps me moving and keeps me doing things. And also they're just really helpful, and they're very soft, and they smell good, and I just love touching them and smelling them and cuddling with them. Okay, this is an interesting question. Does helping others with their plants stress you out? I think, oh, yes and no. Like it definitely does if I don't have like all the information, and also if it's not a scenario where I have initially offered the help, because there's definitely been scenarios. I mean, we live online. There's been tons and tons of scenarios where someone just messages me and is like, what do I do? And that does stress me out, because I'm like, I literally don't know what to tell you, because I don't know all of these things. And if I was to really help you in a way that would be effective, I would need to ask like a million questions, and then you have a lot of people asking you these things, so it would just take a lot of time. So I do get a little stressed out in that regard. In another way, like when I do actually help somebody, or like I, you know, have the capacity to give that advice, I can feel a little bit stressed that like I gave the wrong advice and they're gonna trust me, and then it's gonna turn out really badly. But I do always say like, this is just what I think. I think that you should definitely observe the plant and see what happens. And so I feel like that kind of alleviates a little bit of that stress. But yeah, it does stress me out to help people with their plants. when I haven't said, hey, I want to help you with your plants. Like when it's just like thrust on me, that can be a bit stressful because I'm not in the right headspace, I think. And also I don't know everything about plants. Like I know a lot of things, but definitely not everything. I mean, I have this collection, but there's a lot of plants that don't look very good and I'm still figuring things out. And yeah, I would never want someone to think that like I know everything and I have all of the answers, because I definitely don't. I think this is gonna be the last question because all I have to do is top fill this plant. So I don't really know what I was doing with this plant, but it's pretty full. Like it could use a bigger pot, but I don't have a bigger pot at the moment. And I don't think it's growing out the bottom. No, it's not growing out the bottom. So yeah, I don't have a bigger pot at the moment, but I just wanted to put some more soil around the top so that it wouldn't, hopefully it wouldn't dry out as fast. So there, you know, there could be something around the roots because there's lots of bare roots kind of just like hanging out here and there's like a gap. I'm explaining this to you. I could just show you, but I'm sure that you can visualize. But this question is, how do you motivate yourself? I want to become more of a self-starter. This is hard because I feel like a lot of it is innate personality things. Like, you know, there's people who are extremely motivated and like wake up every single day and like have this whole list and things that they want to get done, and they're like very type A, which I feel like there's type A and type B type of people. So if you don't know like the whole breakdown with that, like type A is like high strung, you make lists, you get shit done. Like when things need to get done, people look to you. And type B is like, you're chill, things will happen when they need to happen. That's a really quick like summary of type A and B personalities if you aren't familiar with that system. But there's so many different personality assessments out there, right? But I feel like I fall somewhere in between, like based on where my mental health is. If my mental health is really good, and I think I'm more of a type B. Like I tend to be way more chill. When I was a teacher, I was very type B. I was not like busting my ass, staying late. Once my hours were up, like once I could leave, I left. Like I left when the kids left, I showed up when the kids showed up. I don't know, like maybe that didn't make me a very good worker or whatever, but like the kids passed their tests, they learned what they needed to learn. And if they had to wait a couple extra weeks for something to be graded, then they had to do that. But I also just like set things up so it wouldn't be like a ton of grading and all of that kind of stuff. But that's like not a relevant conversation to this. That's like a teacher thing. But anyway, okay, so I felt like I needed to level with you before I even answered that, because I think like I might come across as very self-starter, you know, self-motivated, whatever, which I definitely am. But I think it's really, really contingent on where my mental health is at that point, because the amount of work that I can get done like in a couple hours is a lot, but if I am not in a good mental state, nothing is gonna get done. I think like just making sure that I'm taking care of myself mentally helps me be a better worker for myself, like a better self-starter, helps me like keep my space clean. So number one, like eating nutritious meals, like getting actually like enough food for the day, because unfortunately, and this is not a flex, but I'm a person who will forget to eat, and like, because I'm not very food motivated. So, you know, that's not good, and that is an energy drainer. So making sure to take like vitamins and like have everything that I need in that regard, just as a baseline, is really important for me. And then number two, doing things like meditating, doing things like making lists, and like not having a ton of stuff in my brain, like doing brain dumps in your notes. So I just like have a list of everything that I can think of that I need to get done. And that really helps me stay on track, because if I forget something, I have it written down somewhere. When I come back to that list, I will see it again and be like, oh yeah, I needed to do that. So that's really a big thing to keep myself moving, because I can sometimes get bogged down by like the amount of tasks ahead of me. And then this is gonna be kind of cheesy, and like probably the number one reason like why I'm motivated to work and like make videos and honestly provide for my family, because at the end of the day, like this is a job, but it is really fun, but it's also a job and like a way for me to provide. I just have like specific things and like specific ways that I want to live my life, and in order to be able to travel and do all those things, I have to be making money and to be able to like live the life that I want to live. And so I am much more motivated by that kind of thing than just achieving in itself, because honestly, like in high school, elementary, middle school, I did not care about grades. Like I just wanted to have fun, and if I had bad grades, I couldn't have fun. So basically I kept my grades up to the point that they were so that I could, you know, do my cheer thing, do my things with my friends. And I kind of still operate that way. It's like I work to live, I don't live to work. And so I don't know. I don't know if I'm like a stereotypical girl boss in that way, but yeah, I'm motivated to work and to make money and to achieve in order to have like a more fun, non-working life. So I don't know, maybe it would be helpful to like think about what your goals are and like why you want to achieve things. Figure out that, like solidify that first, because I think if you know your why, everything else makes sense. Like figuring out my why, like I want to, you know, provide for my family and make like a fun life. And in order to have this fun life in like from my perspective, I need to be able to bring home this much annually or whatever that may be. And so then I kind of just like work backwards. So I start with big picture and then funnel it down. And then that becomes, you know, 2 videos a week, however many sponsors a month, kind of comes down to that. And I'm not like super rigid with any of it. Like I'm maybe a little too nice to myself sometimes. But yeah, I mean, things are going to depend on like where I'm at mentally as well. So I think I give myself a lot of grace in that. I am still kind of mean to myself a lot of the time, but I do try to remind myself a lot that I'm only human and things are gonna fluctuate a lot. Like there's certain times of the year where I make a lot more, certain times of the year where I don't. And so I kind of have to lean into that. And so that kind of helps me be more of a self-starter and like want to do things. And it really is just like to have a fun life and be able to travel and like have nice things and be able to buy things when I want. I mean, none of those things are actually necessary, so maybe that's really superficial. I don't really know. But yeah, that is my stress and life management themed Q&A. I think that I'm gonna be getting more questions coming in, so I'm gonna answer them probably on Instagram if you guys are interested in this topic. Like, I don't know how many I'm gonna get because it's a very specific topic to discuss, but if you enjoyed this repotting video, please comment down below and let me know. If you wanna do some meditation, do a little bit of, life coaching or cognitive behavior therapy, or just like listening in on some self-care workshops or anything like that, you can check out Aura through the link in the description box below. Again, I have a special link with a free trial and a 25% off. I would love for you guys to check it out because it's been such a fun journey for me to sort of get into something like that, to be more mindful and grounded and I don't know, just like have a place to do it. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. And if you have any additional questions, you can of course leave them down in the description box below. Again, I am not an expert in all of these things. I'm just sort of learning and sharing along the way, which is what I really like to do on this channel. Like I feel like the beginning of this channel was like me learning how to do plants, and then it morphed into, okay, now I feel like I can teach a little bit. And now we are morphing into this new world of like, I'm figuring my life out as an adult, which is kind of funny. So with plants as well, obviously we did some repotting, but yeah. I don't know, I hope that you've enjoyed just like the journey of the channel. I think it's really interesting to see how the channel has morphed and changed through the years, because yeah, it's definitely not, it hasn't ended up where I thought it would in the end, like in the beginning. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. So anyway, okay, enough. I get all philosophical and like on my soapbox, so I'm gonna end it there before I continue. So thank you so much for watching. Truly, it means so much to me that you're here spending time with me out of your day. Thank you, beautiful people. You're the best. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.